Hello Reading Zone! I'm Rachel Chivers Khoo, author of The Wishkeepers Apprentice, which is illustrated by Rachel Sampson. The Wishkeepers Apprentice is a magical story about wishes, friendship, family, and the importance of holding onto hope. The main character is a very ordinary boy called Felix Jones. Felix is having a really tough time of it. His best friend has moved away. He thinks he's the worst player on the football team, and his older sister Rebecca is far too grown up now to want to spend time with him anymore. The story is set in the fictional town of Whittlestone, and if you look very closely at this map, you'll see that in the centre of Whittlestone there is a penny fountain. At the start of the story, Felix makes a very important wish and throws a coin into that fountain. He doesn't really expect anything to happen. You see, Felix doesn't think anything magical would happen to somebody as ordinary as him. But then he meets Rufus Bewinkle, a little man with a whiskered face and pockets full of wish pennies. Rufus is the wishkeeper of Whittlestone. It's his job to collect wishes and grant them and maintain them, and most importantly, to protect them. Rufus is in desperate need of help. The wishes of Whittlestone are under attack from a ferocious creature called the wishsnatcher. Felix agrees to become Rufus's apprentice, and the two of them have to find a way to defeat the wishsnatcher and save the town of Whittlestone before the wishsnatcher steals everyone's hopes and dreams. I'm going to read you a few pages from the book now, and this is from the start of chapter 3, when Rufus and Felix meet for the first time. The surface of the water continued to ripple as Felix's penny settled at the bottom of the fountain. He watched it for a couple of seconds, but nothing else happened. He wasn't sure why he was expecting it to. He rubbed his cold hands and looked up at the warm glow of the bakery across the square. Row upon row of cinnamon buns shone in its window. Felix felt a pang of sadness as he remembered rainy afternoons spent sheltering there with Rebecca when they were younger. Their weekly pocket money had always stretched to one cinnamon bun between two and a steaming mug of hot chocolate each. That weekend ritual felt like a lifetime ago. Weekends were different now that Rebecca was at college. The 7-year age gap between them felt like a gulf. Felix turned back towards the square, and something strange caught his eye. A small man was standing on the rim of the fountain. He definitely hadn't been there a few minutes ago. He was hunched with his back to Felix, holding what looked like a long fishing rod. Next to him was a purple hat turned upside down. The man flicked something small and round from the end of his fishing rod into the hat. Clink. Felix stepped closer and edged around the circular fountain to get a better look. The hat was piled high with copper coins. "Are those pennies from the fountain?" Felix asked, in a more accusatory tone than he'd intended. The fisherman flinched before turning towards Felix. His head was mostly covered by his hood, but Felix could just about pick out an elaborate moustache. Tufts of white hair poked out from under the hood, framing his face in a fog of cloud. The man's thick, white-flecked eyebrows were raised high on his wrinkled forehead. Underneath, two startled eyes stared wide. "You can see me?" the man asked. "Is that unusual?" Felix replied, as he studied the man's appearance. He was dressed in a long overcoat and brown boots. There was something almost otherworldly about him. "Yes," the man replied, still looking very startled.